how do we start a business in Ghana? There are many people who actually, I remember we finished school and some people traveled, some said we are tired, we are coming back to our country, but really when we come back, what is it that we are going to do? Some say, I don't really love what I'm doing, I don't enjoy it, it's not me. I really wish I could start something. What are the principles that must guide you in doing so, and how do you sustain it? We also know people who actually do start these businesses, but come the end of the month or two, that's it. It's all gone. So tonight you're really going to get a lesson from Jennifer Ajimine, who is a personal image consultant, a public speaker, and a transformational coach who also has an understanding of the mindset of the returnee and how really, when you come back, to make it happen for you. She's on the show for the second time. It's good to have you back, Jennifer.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
So basically, there are so many issues we could talk about around the issue of setting up. But let's just begin with the returnee, as it were. When we say returnee, who are you talking about? Someone who grew up in Ghana, left to do something outside school, etc., and comes back?
Sure. So in my case, I left before secondary school.
Oh, okay.
So I was quite young, a child, as it were. So I did all my secondary, college, university, and actually worked for a long time in the UK. And then I wanted to come home. You know, this is home. No matter how much time you spend away, even though I was actually born in the UK, my parents are Ghanaian, I lived in Ghana, I feel very connected to Ghana. So the returnee aspect is, yes, you've come back to your roots, as it were. Yes.
That's it. So when that happens, in your particular case, what are you thinking about when you come? Is it basically, what job, how can I get a job? Because we have a lot of friends out there, all of us, who send us emails every day. How much would I get paid if I landed a job in a bank, in an insurance company or something? Those are the only places they mention.
Yes.
What's the kind of mindset that drives a returnee, so to speak, with regard to business? Okay,
so before you start thinking about coming here, it's because you're not quite happy with what you have over there. You want more, you want a change. You feel like, you know, you're getting uncomfortable.
Okay.
So normally if somebody wants a job, maybe they're thinking of security and they want a job because, you know, every month there will be guaranteed income. Maybe they'll get a company car, they'll get accommodation, just so they can have some money to save. But for those of us who come back and want to start a business, I think it's because we feel like we have a lot to offer. We've seen gaps in the market. We feel like we've been exposed to a different environment and we can actually add value and contribute to the growth and development of Ghana.
So in your particular case, what was it that brought you back?
Well, I've been coming on holidays over the years. And as somebody who's worked in, you know, investment banking and client services for years, I could really see that there's plenty of room for improvement. And I'm very passionate about customer service, about people being their best, people kind of really wishing for more and working towards it to achieve their potential. So I began to look into ways of, you know, equipping myself, getting training, getting qualifications and experience, so when I come back, I can actually make a difference. Rather than be an employee, I could employ others as an employer.
I see. Great. But at the end of the day, I think I should find out a bit about what your particular experiences were. So you left Ghana in your teenage years?
Yeah, before pre-teens. I was 11, yeah.
You were 11? Yeah. Pre-teens, that's early. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you had been born there, all right. You came back to Ghana, and then you went back at 11, and then did what?
Secondary school, straight into first year, because over there you go by your age, not your ability.
Right.
So first year, I'd actually missed the first 6 months of secondary school.
Okay.
But because I had a good education in Ghana, foundation-wise, I was able to step in there and I was fine.
Great.
So first 5 years of secondary school, college for A-levels, and then university and so on.
Okay.
And then work.
So what did you study?
Corporate London. I actually did a social sciences law major degree.
I see.
So yeah, we have something
in common.
Yeah.
All right, great. So and then you what? Securities Institute Investment Administration qualification.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah. So basically, while I was working in investment banking, to keep abreast with current development and so on, you're required to develop yourself. You know, get qualifications. It's not a case of you have a job now, so you sit here forever and wait till your pension.
Okay.
You have to, you know, keep up with the times and find ways to improve yourself so you can actually aim for better when you leave the job.
Interesting. So what's this neuro-linguistic programming thing and practitioner in timeline therapy? Yeah. Those are big words.
They are big words. You said that last time. Neuro-linguistic programming is basically to do with how we think, how we communicate, and our behavior.
Okay.
We tend to have patterns that we run over and over again. I mean, have you ever tried to stop a habit you already have? It's almost impossible.
I know.
It's because you've programmed yourself to do it that way. So to be able to make changes and get different results, you start with the mind. We always complain, oh, we need to change our mentality, but how do you change that? It's not so simple. So the ways to find out, you know, your strategies and how to help you to change them. So as a transformational coach, I actually give you the resource to make the change you want to make to get the results you now seek.
Interesting. And then what's this bit about color and style analysis? I'm trying to lay all the foundation about you.
That's fine.
And then we can zoom in to the subject matter proper.
Okay. So basically, I'm sure not every color suits you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should come and see you.
Or nobody else. Basically, based on
maybe lilac is not my color.
You look fine.
I should do more white.
Based on your coloring, as in your depth, clarity and undertone of your coloring, your hair, your skin, your eyes, certain colors will look better on you than others. So the idea is to find out the colors that suit you, and then you wear it because it enhances your image, it gives you confidence, and then people look at you and think, wow, you look good. They often can't really place a finger on it, but that would be the basis for it. So basically with my clients, I give them a palette of colors which are theirs, whether you're a man or a woman. So for the ladies, it's for your clothes, your makeup or your accessories. For the men, for your suits, your shirts, your accent colors for your ties and so on.
Yeah. That's great. So at what age were you done with all of this in the UK and then decided that Ghana is the place to go?
Okay. So I was actually working in corporate investment banking in London. And then alongside that, once I came to Ghana on holiday and saw the gap, I started training in those areas to be equipped for the move. Because I didn't want to just get up and say, oh, I'm here. You know, because what am I offering? I kind of had the idea there, planned the business, and then moved to Ghana to grow the business.
I see. So you actually set it up whilst you're out there?
As in preparation-wise.
Preparation-wise.
Yes.
Okay. And how old were you?
Oh, this is only a couple of years ago. I've been back for 2 years.
Oh, you've been back for 2 years?
Yes.
I see. Interesting. So let's find out in these 2 years, what business have you set up and why that business and not another?
Sure. So it's called Amazing You. The name is quite significant because it's for people to realize that you are amazing. You're created to be an awesome difference in your society. But how do you actually go about making a difference rather than just being another person who's, you know, a clog on the hole, just going about their business? How do you find out what your potential is? You know, what are your abilities? What are your passions? How do you move from A to Z? So my job is to basically give you the resource and equip you to navigate your way through your desires to get to where you want to be.
So how does one become an entrepreneur? Because I've heard that not everybody can become one.
Well, it takes a lot of work. It takes passion. It takes tenacity. It takes hard work. You have to be open-minded. You have to be flexible in your thinking. You've got to be able to be analytical, identify gaps in the market, and then find, you know, people always complain there are no jobs. But if you think about it, if there are no jobs, it means people are looking for jobs. So what if you created jobs? You'd be in business. So rather than waiting for somebody else to have all the answers, it's about you seeking places where you can also make a contribution to society through business, because that's a really great way to make a difference.
But aren't more than 90% of all people just followers?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And most people want a job.
Yeah.
You set up a law firm and everybody you know is asking you whether there's a free desk for them. And when you can actually see that people also have practically the same training you have, the same skills you have and all of that, and yet no one wants to venture into what you are doing.
Well, very often they're afraid. You know,
people want security.
They do.
A paycheck at the end of the month.
But you see, that isn't always going to make you happy for one. It may never be enough for you because it'll be limited. And also, the security that we talk about, in years to come, it may not be there. You know, look at the West now, redundancies all over the place. In Spain, 23% population are, unemployed. So this security we so seek, it's a perceived security. But there's nothing more kind of encouraging to a human being than having your destiny in your own hands, making your own decisions and actually making a difference rather than waiting to be handed out something, being the one to do the giving.
So how does one start? Because I'm sure that many people out there who say, it would be great for me to do something for myself. But how does one set out to achieve that? Many are watching, I believe, at this stage, who are saying, I wish I don't have to wake up in the morning to go to where I go to. But then again, the security issue we are speaking about. I believe I have skills, I have talents, I have etc. What are the things a person is supposed to look out for within themselves to determine that these are what I can harness?
So people speak about finding your purpose very often. So normally with your purpose, you have a passion. People say, find something that you're very good at, that you love to do, and you're willing to do it for free, but then find a way to get paid doing it. Okay? So you do it for free because you love it so much.
I heard Abedi Pele say that he could have played football for free.
There you go. And most footballers
that he just enjoyed playing it. And yet got paid for it.
Exactly.
Messi says the same thing.
Exactly. Everybody will have that in them. There's no discrimination in that. So take your time. Talk to your friends or your family. What are your abilities? What comes very naturally to you? So for me, it was always talking. I see, there you go. For me too. My friends would complain, Jennifer, you have verbal diarrhea.
Do this for free though.
Sure, but I know.
That's on the lighter side.
Yeah, yeah. But the point is, everybody has gifts and talents and abilities. Take your time to find it. And then look to somebody who maybe can be a role model, whether they're a coach or somebody who's, taken the journey before you. Learn from their experience. Right. It may have taken them 20 years. It could take you maybe half or a quarter of the time.
I agree.
The point is, you will have to put in some work, and don't just think it will come easily. So find your passion, be purposeful about planning, plan, and just be happy to network. Put yourself out there. Let people know what you're offering. Create an awareness of what you can do. You have to dream big, but start small.
Sure.
And then gradually you can build it up. It can be done. If I can do it, if you can do it, anybody else can do it.
But that's difficult for some people, really coming to terms with what their skill or their strength is. Because you realize that in our society, people look for a job and they're looking for what's available.
Yeah.
People don't really know. So if today there's a job at, say, a filling station as an attendant, someone may take it depending on the qualifications that they have. Yeah. If there's a job in a bank as a teller, a graduate may take it because that is what is available. Yeah. If there's a job in an oil company, and you're supposed to check files and see to some issues, someone may take it because that's what is available. Yeah. So I think that in the long run, it becomes difficult for many to really identify that purpose you're talking about.
Okay, so if that's what's available, maybe for the meantime you're there. But you won't be happy because maybe that's not where you're supposed to be.
Right.
So while you're there, still do your homework, do your research.
Okay.
Look at ways to develop yourself better, be prepared for another position that comes up. Don't think because you've taken a job at the age of 21, be there till you're 60. Because you're going to look back and just be full of regret. So be deliberate about thinking, you know what, I also deserve to do what I enjoy. Right. Somebody else is having a wonderful time in their job. Why should I be here and be miserable? Because also, if you're not happy in your job, it will show in what you're doing. The customers will see it, your employer will see it, and it'll just be misery. It'd be a case of Sunday night, you're having butterflies in your stomach because the next morning you're going to work to a job that you absolutely hate. So be deliberate about finding what you're good at. And then in terms of
how do you do that? That's the question I'm asking. So how does a person really find out that this is what I'm good at?
Yeah, so when you say that's what's available, your focus will always lead you to something. So shift your focus to what you want rather than what you don't want, if that makes sense. Because there are always things going on around you. Right. But remember that somebody else will find the job that you are looking for. How have they found it? People say there are no jobs, but people are working. How have they found it? You have to be deliberate. I'll say that again. Be focused. Whatever you focus upon, you will get.
So how does one, so you need to focus. Yes. For example, I can say, like you're saying, you speak well, it's something you can do strongly. I'm reading your profile and it's there that you are a public speaker. Yes. You're a guest speaker at conferences and seminars on image and peak performance. This is what you're doing now. And you've been able to put Amazing You, founded in 2010 together, and here you are. Someone is watching now and says, I want to become an entrepreneur. And I feel it in me. Yeah. But should I go into making shoes or what? The fact that I like shoes doesn't mean that I can market shoes. Sure. That decision, and this is based on conversations I've had with people younger than myself a lot of the time, who say, it's not easy for you to find it. Azuma Nelson knew that he wanted to box when he was 6 years old. Yeah. He told me that here, and you right in the seat. Yes. And we've mentioned the footballers. You knew they wanted to play football. Yeah. But it's not the same for many of the people out there. Many people don't know what they want to do. Okay. How do they find that?
Okay. So you ask yourself questions. So me, for example, I could never, for instance, let me see, what wouldn't I want? I would never be able to sit and sell, say, tomatoes in the market. Some people do it and do it very well, make lots of money doing it. Yeah. But I wasn't passionate about it. Right. I'm passionate about people talking, making change in their life, helping them to transform. So whatever gives you joy, look for that. In terms of, thinking it's not easy, I'm not saying it's easy. But I'm doing it every day. I'm waking up, I've got 24 hours in a day like you do, and I'm deciding what am I spending that 24 hours doing. I could use it sitting on my, on my lap just saying, oh, I don't want to go out and do this today, I'll stay at home. Right. How is that going to help me to achieve my goals? So the hard work, it comes with the territory. Okay. But you still have to look for what you're good at and speak to people, see where the need is, and then you fill it. Because you still have to, find food to eat and make money. So if it means just having something that brings in a bit of income for cash flow, but then focusing on what you want to do long term, that would work. But people shouldn't say, because it's not easy, I can't do it. Okay. It's not going to be easy.
What should be the purpose of entrepreneurship?
It should be to make a difference in society. It should be for people to realize that they can reach their potential. They don't have to always be going to look for a job where they can actually create employment for others. It could be the about being a problem solver. You know, my children's
Is
school
wealth creation a part of it?
Yeah, of course. You need to create wealth because, you know, why would you want to go through all that risk and finding what you're good at and all the soul searching if you're going to be average? It's about realizing that, you know what, there's no ceiling. You know, my potential income has no limit. And that's quite a nice thing to know.
All right. But then people also like to go into areas where everyone sees to be thriving. That's why in Ghana, someone sets up a radio station and then you end up having 100 all around the place because people think it's a good business. Somebody decides that instead of letting people fetch water, ice water out of a bucket they are carrying in a cup and serving everybody with it, they should rather put the water in a sachet rubber or something. And then everybody sees that that's what is the in thing, so to speak. And there are 100 companies doing that. People say, now let's put it into a plastic bottle. And then everybody's doing that business. I mean, in Ghana, there was a time where everywhere you turned, there was a lotto kiosk with red, yellow, and green and a black star, simply because one person put a lotto kiosk in front of their house, and people started staking, and everyone thought they should stake it. I realized that people don't really like to venture into new areas. Someone is doing it, it's happening. So let's all go there.
We like to play it safe, but I think also is a mentality of short-termism. Rather than them thinking, okay, I need to invest a few years into this business, watch it grow. They don't want to wait around and see what happens. They think, well, somebody's got that. I can model that, you know, same arrangement. It works for them. It could work for me. So let me do it. But again, if you're not passionate about it, if you're not careful with how the money is being generated, keeping checks and balances, you will eventually end up losing the business. Some of these followers you're talking about have probably lost, you know, they're not in the business anymore because they couldn't go for the long haul. So I think that's where your passion and your love for what you're doing will come into, because that's what will let you stay through the tough times and the good times.
But really, many won't venture because they are afraid. Many won't venture because they've seen too many people fail. Why should anybody say that, well, that person failed, yet I won't? And some will also venture because they've tried before and they don't like what happened.
But you see, it's about beliefs. I'll ask you, anybody watching this, if they believed there could be anything they wanted in this life or whatever they did, they'd be a success, what would they be doing now?
Don't you think this society doesn't even allow you to believe?
Well, you have to.
Around this place, you're not even supposed to say, I believe.
No, you have to. I believe in myself. I believe in God first, but I believe in myself. You have to believe in yourself because that's what will take you through. That's what will let somebody give you the contract rather than the next person. You know, your belief in what you're doing comes through, you know, it's part of your confidence. And self-esteem is key if you're going to be an entrepreneur. You have to believe in your natural abilities. You know, and also look at people who've done it. If they've done it, why can't you? Who says they've done it but you can't? Except for you. So you've got to give yourself the mindset of, you know what, I'm going to at least try this. And don't think once you fail once, you have to give up. You may try, I mean, KFC is here now. I think the gentleman who started KFC, he was like in his 60s, tried 99 times just to have this recipe being used for free for him to get commission. If he had given up, we wouldn't all be rushing.
Everywhere he went was turned away.
Yes, he was.
This is a crazy mix.
Exactly.
Everybody turned him away.
But you have to keep going because if you give up, you've given up on yourself. And that's the last thing you want to do.
Is it because we probably don't have enough examples around here? Or people don't like to talk about
their things? If you look
things?
for the examples, you find them. Though there's evidence to the contrary also. But what about you being the example? For somebody else to follow. Why has it always been somebody else showing you the way? Why can't you be the leader?
Because it's a timid society. I'm telling you, I can see that. The society frowns on people who are not timid.
Well, let's smile back at them and say,
and you speak
be strong.
Well, don't you?
Of course,
it's a job.
Yeah, but humility,
that's what we praise. We praise people who are timid.
Okay, well,
that's our society.
Hopefully that should be changing because I don't think it's actually helped us very much.
That's the point I'm making.
You know, so the children need to be taught to be confident. Respect is great, but with that you can also be confident. You can be able to speak your mind and have a viewpoint. You don't have to follow what everybody else is doing. You can be the one with the different point of view, a creative thinker. There's so much creativity. I mean, how many things could have been invented right here in Ghana to solve many of our problems? You know, a lot. We have to let people realize that, you know what, we need to nurture children. We shouldn't say to them, be quiet, don't speak, don't be around when adults are around. Because how do they transition into adulthood if they don't get to experience what it takes to be able to have knowledge shared with you, to be able to have somebody ask you, so what do you think about this? What's your point of view? It's key to their development. You know, they're socialized by the age of, say, between 5 and 11. I mean, the first 5 years are crucial. But 5 and 11, they're modeling the socialization taking place. We need to realize that they have the answers to many of our problems.
Right.
But let's give them the platform and the encouragement to be able to do that.
Let's take our first commercial break. Remember, you can send your views to 1760 by text across all mobile networks. A text message will cost you 30 pesos to send. If you're on Facebook, it's a free message. Facebook.com/MultiTV PM Express. When we come back, it's the age-old question. I have great ideas, but I don't have the money, the capital to start. Jennifer, how do I secure? Let me ask you, startup capital. It's always the million-dollar question. How does one find it?
Well, there are a few ways of doing it. You can borrow it, but it's often very expensive. Interest rates in Ghana are pretty high.
Outrageous, I say.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
You could save it, but somebody will say, if I don't have the business money, how am I going to save it?
Right.
Maybe speak to people. You can very often get maybe a venture capitalist or another entrepreneur who has the money, you have the idea, have a partnership.
Okay.
Okay, it means you're diluting your equity and so on, but if that's what it takes to get you off the ground, it's worth looking at what options are available to you. But also, don't think you have to have lots of money before you can start it. At least find what you need to maybe register the company. Start small. I said earlier, dream big, but start small. Do what you can, but don't let the capital be a reason for you not to start your dream business. So
capital shouldn't be a problem.
No.
We've heard that people complaining, I can't find the money. I go to relatives, they're not ready to lend me money. Yeah. I go to the banks, the rates they give me are outrageous. Some even ask me to bring security, which if I had, I probably could have liquidated and used to start my business. Yeah. So that is a very living, practical challenge that people have in Ghana. Yeah. People just don't know how to find the money. Okay. People just don't know how to find it. So
maybe find a part-time job and save some money.
Okay.
If you're able to show that you have good habits in terms of saving money, keeping records, and being tenacious, speak to people. You'd be amazed you can find somebody who's willing to either lend it to you or give you some space, rather than maybe say to you pay for a year or 2 years, maybe pay quarterly, pay monthly. Those things can often be excuses. I'm not saying we make excuses,
right,
but you try once or twice, you haven't been able to find it, so you give up.
So it starts with you.
It does. You have to believe.
Because some people are looking for somebody else's money. When as a matter of fact, like you're saying, you could possibly save up some money, or you could do some part-time job or do something else to find the money to invest in something else.
Yeah, even if you have a skill, maybe start teaching other people. If you've finished secondary school, maybe you can start offering, other adult education classes in basic literacy, or teaching somebody's children, French, tree, English, maths. You have to be creative. Right. It's part of being an entrepreneur. Look for ways to use what you have. You do have some resources already. You could do with more, but for now, make the most of what you have and then build on it. Build on it gradually. Okay, so make the most of what you have and build on it gradually. Yes. And they say that another big challenge for most people who start businesses is that they want to enjoy the life of the rich and famous, sometimes a bit too early. Yes. And that once you land a good contract, Mercedes-Benz. Oh, I've heard that. Because the Mercedes-Benz will set you back, 5 years. Right. Don't be ashamed to live according to your means. What do they say? Cut your coat according to your size. Right. In good time, you will enjoy the fruits of your labor. Rather, according to your cloth. According to your cloth. Because really, if your cloth is not up to your size. It's true. So don't, it's good to aspire to all that. Having those goals or that dream will motivate you to work harder. Right. But don't squander the money that you've dreamed of for the last 3 years for the sake of a car, so your friends can see you've got the latest car. Right. Because to even maintain that car, insurance, petrol, all of that can cost you a lot of money. Right. So do what you can afford and do it gradually, and don't be ashamed to be seen, getting public transport and so on. It's okay. You know what your target is. You know where you're going. Right. So don't look at anybody else. Right. It's not about them. It's about what you're going to be able to achieve, and you get there eventually. So we should all learn some form of humility at the start. And we should also know, that word, don't you? Yeah. And we should also learn that the quality of life that we have and all of that will come with what we are able to put out. Yes. And that sometimes we think of the enjoyment ahead of the gains, the benefits. I mean, it's good to want to have a good life, but sometimes you look at somebody and think, oh, they're enjoying, I want to enjoy too. But very often you don't realize the journey they've had to take to get to where they are. You don't know how many years they've worked, when they've sacrificed. When you hear some of these stories with people who've sacrificed for years to be able to achieve something in life, it's not going to happen to you overnight. Okay. Especially if you want it to go the long haul. It won't be an overnight success. So what are some of the challenges you faced or you have faced in this first 2 years of setting up your company in Ghana? So in terms of being in Ghana, things like access to information is often very difficult to get, to find out. You know, what can you do? How much is it going to cost you? How long is it going to take? Something that in most parts of the West is very easy. You can go online, get all the information you need, even to register your company. For example, if you live in Tamale, you have to come all the way to Kumasi to register a company. You know, whereas in the West, you can you can be at home, do everything online, either with a credit card or put a check in the post, and within a few days, all the information, everything is done. So in terms of that,
and I can tell you that
your resources.
as we sit here now, it's more difficult registering a company today than it was doing it last year. Because you say we are doing something we call GE Reg or something. You have to get a PIN number, etc. and all that. You have to go home and they will text you some details in 2 weeks, a text that never comes. And all of that. I mean, that's an issue I really would like to deal with on this show sometime. And it's become very, very difficult. It's become a disincentive to starting a business.
People should be encouraged rather. This should be made very easy.
It
but
takes
they
a
should make the
long
process
time to register a business in Ghana now, today.
It shouldn't.
More than it was last year.
Especially as you're saying, people are out of work. We need to give people, hope and opportunity. So if this is going to put them off, then it's a non-starter. So yes, we should make these things a bit easier. For people to actually, jump on board.
Let's talk about infrastructure, particularly because of where you're coming from compared to Ghana. What do you see?
Where do I start? Not really. I mean, something like transportation, for example. Somebody could live Birmingham to London in an hour and a half, can be on the train to the office.
Right.
It takes me that long to drive from Sakamana to Laboni sometimes. And the example I gave is something like from Accra to Sunyani. In an hour and a half, you could be at your office. So imagine if we had a system which enabled us to do this. It would be a bit more efficient. It would create jobs. It would save a lot of time. Time is a very valuable resource. We don't appreciate it. We think money, money, money. Money can be wasted and squandered and always made back. Time, you lose it, it's gone. So I think we need to realize that infrastructure is key to our development as a nation, as a people. So we need to take our time to invest in it because the rewards will come to us.
So what infrastructure do you think that we are failing to put in place as a nation?
I mean,
as a nation,
power.
What should we be prioritizing to make things happen?
Yeah, power. In my studio, very often, in the middle of a consultation, the lights will go out. You have to now go and find the generators. I mean, it's complicated. It shouldn't be like that. So power is definitely an issue. Transportation is an issue. In other places, people are on surface trains, they're going underground. So many alternatives. You can sit in your house, maybe you have an interview tomorrow, you can plan a journey and know exactly which bus you're going to take, at what time, and what station. In Japan, when you get on the train pulls up, you have a ticket in your hand, and you actually stand at the place where your seat will be. So you get on, within 2 seconds, you're sitting down. All these things speed up the process. People aren't wasting time, fighting to get onto transportation. So we need to be aware that, look, we have issues. They can be solved, but in solving them, we're going to actually create employment. Things like the roads, the gutters. Can I say the gutters?
You can't say that. You can. I mean, I think you should.
Create pavements, for things like safety on the road. People are walking.
Culverts.
Yeah. So to me, close the gutters, make pavements for people to walk on. Then they won't be in the roads. Health and safety. All these things come back to haunt us and it actually costs us more eventually.
I agree.
In healthcare, in accident care, everything.
Absolutely.
Rather than fixing the problem. But I will say this. I think sometimes our problems seem too big. So we almost want to pretend they're not there, but we need to face up to them. And in people's individual lives, you've got to face up to your challenges and deal with them. Don't sweep them under the carpet. They won't disappear. You've got the resource. Deal with them. I think that's
so
what we need to do.
infrastructure is a major problem. For example, if I have an interview tomorrow or I have something, court appearance tomorrow, I have to read up, make sure the quality is better than I did last year, but I haven't ironed my clothes for tomorrow, then I have to forget about reading. Because I'm not sure that when I wake up in the morning, they will have lights in the house. And that's a problem.
It is a problem.
It's a challenge. So you are not able to plan. You are forced to plan according to what is not there.
Somebody will say to you, oh, but that's good because it means you can manage your time.
No.
But it does put undue pressure. And actually...
It doesn't allow you to prioritize.
Yeah, because in the last week, people have had power outages for like half a day. I mean, imagine the cost to the economy of that time that we've lost due to power outages. I know sometimes it's beyond their control, they're doing their best, but it's 2012 now. We need to solve some of these basic problems so we can move on to developing as a nation on a higher level.
For you personally, why move away from investment banking and get into training and personal image consultancy and all of that? Why?
I'm very keen to help people to develop themselves.
So do you think you're in the wrong place?
Before,
as an investment
no,
banker?
I mean, I learned a lot. The money was fantastic. Great experience. I got to work with some great people, great minds, high risk takers, millionaires, you know, running multi-billion pound funds.
Wow.
I learned a lot. But it's in that environment I was able to see that, you know what, in life, you have to be a risk taker. In life, you have to do the best that you can, you know, having SLAs, having client deadlines, being able to meet them. Because if you miss a client deadline, there's a penalty involved. So being responsible, you know, being able to manage your time. And actually, in that environment also, I had a chance to benefit from coaching, from having particular development courses. That's when I realized that, you know what, if I brought these services to Ghana, I could actually help people and help myself. Plus, I love to be here.
So how is it going with what you do now?
Yeah.
What are your experiences? What do you see? What's happening with the people you come into contact with?
Sure.
You have some stories to share with us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for the most part, lots of creating awareness. But when I have clients who call me and said, oh, for the first time in years, my husband paid a compliment about how I look today. Yeah. Or they say to me, oh, thank you, I've been able to get through that issue that I had. Now I can move on with my life. I feel like I have more confidence. I'm going for a promotion. Or people say to me, I've been on a course, and people say to me, oh, you look so good. How do you dress so well? You're like a movie star. Is it because you've got money? You know, when I'm able to make a difference in somebody else's life for them to do something they couldn't do before, that's what gives me joy. And it's going well. I mean, these kind of platforms are fantastic. People get to find out what I do. That especially for a business who wants to have their staff exhibit global standards of style, success, and service. This isn't really a luxury; it's a necessity. Because, you know, we have all these people, companies coming who are multinationals, who have a particular standard that they expect, and they're not going to just take, oh, this is how we do it in Ghana, this is our system. That's not going to be good enough. If you want good service and good returns, people have to have the resource. They have to know what to do to give that service. And that's why I'm able to do what I do.
So how does Ghana compare with regard to attitude to work against the UK and the experiences you have from there?
What I'd say is sometimes here, people who are working, they feel like they're doing the employer a favor. They feel like, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't make your money. So why do you have to give me instruction? You know, what I'd say to that is, when you have a job, it's about you getting an income and developing yourself. You don't have to be there forever. Be there for as long as you can contribute, and then you can move on. I think also people feel like they're never getting paid enough. So again, develop yourself, be bold, be brave. If you feel you deserve a raise, go and ask for one. If you're not happy in a job, don't stay there because you're doomed. Because like I said earlier, that reflects very poorly on you, on the image of your company, and the customers are the ones who tend to suffer. I think also in terms of working, people feel like they don't have a choice in what they do. But I say you do have a choice. You know, sometimes they choose to do nothing, and that's also a choice that you're making. If you want to do something different, you decide, you make a decision, and then you move on.
Customer service in Ghana, to me, is very poor. Do you share that opinion?
10 times over, yes. Yes.
Why is that?
I think as a nation, we can often be very accepting of people's behavior. We don't want to be the one to complain. You know, I've complained about many things since I've been here. Whether it's in the bank, I've actually boycotted a particular salon because the customer service is so bad.
I've boycotted a particular laundry.
There you go.
I'm not taking my suits there
Yes,
again.
good.
It's a very popular one in Ghana, but I am not going there.
Good. So we need to stand up and think, you know what, I deserve better service than this. I'm not going to put up with it. I will go elsewhere. So we need to be a society that learns to complain about things that we're not happy with. It's okay to say to somebody, you know what, I'm not happy with this. Can you do better? You know, very often when I ask people questions, they get offended. Like, how dare you ask me? But it's about information. You need to know what's available so you can make an informed decision. So customer service is poor often because we don't know we deserve better. We think, oh, it's okay, you know, Vanessa. But no, you have to expect more to be able to receive more.
And do you think there's any link between the low quality of customer service and the fact that people are unable to really start businesses and keep them thriving, etc.? Do you think that it's an area where we haven't considered, but perhaps it's really causing us a lot of harm?
Yeah, I mean, a person who gets good customer service will probably tell 2 people. If they get bad service, they're telling at least 12. You know, it costs you 5 times as much to get a new customer as it does to keep, an existing one. Yeah. So we have to be aware that these issues will affect our business. You know, a lady opened a salon and she said to me, look, I've been here for 6 months. My staff still find it difficult to remember my clients' names. And to her, because they just can't be bothered. But to her, it's important for that customer client to know that, you know what, they're important to you. They're not just madame or auntie. They're an individual. So those little things, you know, to make people feel like they're valued, you care about them, you know, knowing their name, speaking to them on a personal level rather than just, okay, you're here to do your hair. I'm not your friend. Let me do your hair, pay your money and go.
Yeah. That's terrible, but we have to take a quick commercial break.
Sure.
Some messages have come in. We'll take them when we return from the break. You can send us some more to 1760 across all mobile networks. Facebook.com/MultiTV PM Express is your address. When we come back, we are getting to the area of, okay, so now I have managed to set up my business. How do I attract business? Says, Jennifer talked about saving money. Truly, I find it hard to save. What do I do?
Try hard. Look at the habits. How do you treat your money? Is she spending more than she's earning? Is she being a bit frivolous? Is she being extravagant? You know, have a budget, and then stick to it, and then find ways to make more money. So, like I said, if it's a part-time job, it's by offering services you know you can handle, and then just believe that it's possible to save. Don't think everybody who's got a business always had the money sitting there, or their mother or the father gave it to them, or something else. There must be people who've been in your situation before, who've been able to save money and start a business. Right. You could be the next one. There's no reason why you can't be the next one.
That's your answer right there, Joa. Tobacco says, when will you bring Professor Frimpong Boateng, PPP, and Dr. Indum? Okay, all right. Dr. Indum has been on the show, really. And you know that one is for Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So one of those days, we'll get all of that for you. And it says, Jenny, you are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you.
That's to you, from a man who says his name is Tobacco. It could be a woman, actually.
Tobacco.
I don't know. More messages here. This one says, Nee, how do I turn my talent into a job to also help others? How do I turn my talent into a job to also help others? I think you've dealt with this, but are you able to just say maybe in a sentence?
It means like a business?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let people know, let people understand that he can actually add value to what they already have with his talent. And they should pay him for it.
Great. Nee, looks like most of those who had their education outside have a high self-esteem and also believe in themselves. That's someone's observation.
You know what? When I first went to London, the first time I read in class, the whole class laughed at me.
Okay.
I went home, I was devastated. I said to my mom, I want to go back to Ghana. And then she encouraged me. Jennifer, don't worry. In maths, I was teaching them what to do. In English, they laughed when I read. Okay. It didn't stop me, but it does take somebody to encourage you. And if nobody's encouraging you, encourage yourself, because all your mind needs is the information that you can do it.
Right.
So if nobody's there to pat you on the shoulder, give yourself the encouragement. It is something people have said, but I think mainly it's because over there, some of the society is quite child-centered. Children are given lots of time and attention, so they are built up in that way. But you can do it yourself as an adult. Okay. You know, look for things you're good at. Every day, write down 3 things you've done really, really well. You know, give yourself the confident boost that you need. Find out what you're good at. Everyone's good at something. It could be something as simple as getting to work on time one day, or giving somebody a helping hand. All those things can help to boost your confidence. And then don't be afraid to try new things. You know, we learn by doing. Okay. So no matter how fearful, how difficult it seems, do it. The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Do it. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Yes. I've just set up a business. I've managed to put it together, but I don't have any clients. I don't have any customers. Sure. How do I attract business?
Okay. The English have a saying, cream will always rise to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to find out, okay, if for the next month or so, you have to offer pro bono business, go for it.
And that's free business.
Free business, yeah. I've done it in hotels. I've done it at companies. Once you go there and you do it for free, they see the difference you've made to the institution. They will have you back and pay you for it. Okay. You know. Okay. So yes, it won't happen overnight, but everybody, no matter which company it is, had to have their first client. So that shouldn't stop you. Nobody started a business and in 2 days everything was, you know, was perfect. You've got to start from the beginning. Okay. So find ways to let people know that what you're doing is valuable. What you're doing is going to let them grow in their own development, and then they'll be willing to pay you for it. But be willing to be in for the long haul. Be willing tenacious, to be in
for the long haul.
Yes.
So that things don't happen immediately.
No.
Things don't happen overnight.
Yeah, it takes time.
Some people choke when they get one big business.
Okay.
And so maybe set up 2, 3, 4 months, big business. And then nothing else happens for a whole year. And then they are on the decline.
Right.
How does a person rise from a good occasion?
So in that year when nothing is happening, don't just sit there waiting for the business to come again. You've got to take it out to people. Okay. Take it out there. Find avenues to let people know that.
What are some of the avenues? What could a person do? Someone has a business, is running it, is new. Shoes, whatever, training, business kits, etc.
Sure.
It's all beautifully and nicely done.
Yeah.
How does he?
I mean, the last time
or
I was
she
here,
get people?
social media came up a lot.
Yes.
You know, Google, for example, are offering free websites at the moment.
Right.
So look for ways to quite cheaply market your business, promote it.
Okay.
Don't keep it in the house and think people will come and knock on your door. They will not.
All right.
You've got to take it out there. So use social media, speak to people about it, offer samples. You just have to be really creative. And trust me, once you believe that you find the solution and you're looking for it, it will come to you. I may not be able to give you all the examples now, but you just have to give yourself time and keep trying.
And keep trying and make people get it. In some businesses, you are not allowed to advertise.
Sure.
Architects, lawyers, etc. You can't do an advert in the newspaper.
Sure, yeah.
What do people like that do?
Well, it's normally referrals. If you do a very good job, your clients will tell their friends, tell their family. And I have a lot of clients who that's how they came across me, through referrals.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a good incentive to do it and do it well.
Okay.
Because your work will speak for itself, and actually that costs you no money at all.
It doesn't.
Because
But then it doesn't matter the way you socialize. Because I've heard people say, for example, that you should have lunch at this place, or you should attend that event, or you should make it a point to do this, so people know who you are, people know that you are around, and people know that is that important?
It is important, but I think to an extent you have to be selective. You don't want to spend your 1 month salary going to have lunch at the Movenpick because that's where people think you should be seen.
Okay.
You've got to really know what you're about.
Right.
And if it would have good returns, and it doesn't always have to cost you money either.
Okay. Yeah. Is advertising important?
It is, but
for a startup?
It is, but it depends what it is that you're doing. So like I said, something like Google Trader is free. So advertising is good, but the key is don't spend all your money doing adverts and then you're going to regret it. You're going to wish you hadn't done it. Because that won't give you a good feeling. So find ways to advertise that are cost effective and if possible that are free. And then you can build up. So take out classifieds in magazines and newspapers.
Right.
Yeah.
How big should it be? And by that, someone starts up, gets a very beautiful plush office in a nice location, or maybe it's big. You have a number of people working for you, staff, this number of secretaries, that computer, that, and all of that.
Yeah.
Which is the wiser way? Some say that start with one computer, start in an obscure place if you like, and then have very small running cost and move. Others also say that no, let's do a big plush, etc., and that we may attract people that way. Which is the better thinking on this one? I
think you have to be very sensible. You need wisdom here. If you can do the same job, same quality in a smaller space with less machinery, less cost, definitely go for that. That shows that you're business savvy. People, it's not about being extravagant, because the extravagance, like you said, could get you 1 or 2 clients, and then for the next 6 months, you can't even pay your staff. How are you going to keep the clients you've even got? And the ones that are going to come later, there's nobody to service them. So yes, start small and build up. Have your targets. Keep an eye. Be willing to evaluate, see where you're going wrong, a bit of flexibility here and there, and then move forward. And eventually, you can get as big as you want. But in the beginning, you have to be careful.
Some say begin with a typewriter. I spoke to somebody, an old man, who said begin with a typewriter. Hand write things if you have to, or typewrite them if you have to, and all of that. Someone also says get the nicest quality letterhead. Yeah. Because that is what speaks for you when it goes out. Okay, so
if you can afford the nicest quality letterhead, then it's about image. Okay. But again, depends what business you're in also.
All right.
Typewriter at the moment I would. But in some of our public sector organizations, they're still using typewriters.
Absolutely, a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them if you want to go to so many places.
Yeah.
They'll type in commissioner for oaths, etc. and all that. Yeah. If you can't afford a lawyer, you can go by the roadside and get your statutory declaration done for you. No, they type it away.
Is that a good thing?
It's not a good thing at all to my mind. So how modern should you be? How much should you invest in technology? How much should you invest in normal things? What kind of computer should you buy? You need an iMac.
Research. See what's on the market. See what works for you, that's cost effective, and that works for now. And then with time, you can upgrade, upgrade your image, but the most important thing to upgrade is your thinking. Okay. Because that's more important, and that's more valuable than any gadget. And then I think you have to also have a great belief in in your product. If you wouldn't buy your product yourself, nobody else will. Okay. You have to have a belief in your product. Those things will also add value.
How valid is this viewpoint? I've read it in a number of books. Sure. Sell that which the society wants, not what you think you want to do. And if that is true, then it also may conflict with somebody's interest and say that this is what I have an interest for, this is what I may do and not feel any pain doing. But what if that's what you want to give society, society won't pay for? How do you balance that?
I think the difference in those things would be the time.
Okay.
So selling what society wants would get you the returns quicker. Doing what you want to do, it could maybe take longer for you to see the returns. But just if you think to yourself, you want to be happy in what you're doing and give of your best, then I think eventually you want to do what you want to do. Okay. But sometimes in the meanwhile, you've got to provide the service that's needed, because that's what will give you your cash flow, is what will get you, you know, earning money as soon as possible.
Now, not saying to your question, I have always had this idea that it is best getting the experience on a job or business before you go in to start. My question is, should it be for all kinds of businesses or for some? And what's your take on the question of experience?
Okay, experience can be can be valuable, but you don't always have to have experience, because sometimes actually can be a way to hold you back. You can go in and learn all the bad habits that people are doing, and then you go and replicate them.
Right.
So I think you have to just, if you know you can give it a good shot and do it well without the experience, go for it.
Okay.
If you think you need the experience, then to have it for the shortest possible time, but be aware that you're not just learning to go and copy what they're doing. Find ways in which to modify and improve on your experience to give better service to your own future customers.
So if someone is watching us from outside, as we do a lot of the time and stream this program live around the world, should they come back home if they are contemplating it?
Yes, I need you here to help us to change that. No, come home. It's a great environment for entrepreneurship. There's lots of room for improvement, great potential. Just be willing to work hard, give yourself time, have a plan, but be flexible. But definitely I'd say come back. I have no regrets whatsoever.
And
in terms of coming back.
Are you sure the environment is good for starting up businesses?
The environment needs people who've got exposure, who've got experience, who want to work hard, and they can help make a difference to society. Yes, the environment. We need each other. Those who are here need those who are there. Those who are there need those of us who are here.
The aspect of the nurse's question, should people wake up and venture? Or should people say, I want to go into this line of business, let me go and work with this firm for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, get experience and all that? I know you've answered it in a bit, but I'm asking, someone will say, fortune favors the bold. Yeah. And so I'm jumping into it, and I'm going to make it happen.
Okay, so the different levels of boldness. So like I said, if you're feeling bold enough and you have the resources, meaning the knowledge, the know-how, the expertise to do it and do it well, then try. But other than that, it is worth finding out how is this done. Then you can model it and do it excellently. You can even end up being a competitor to the place you learned from. Okay. Okay. So I think depending on who you are, one answer would fit, the other would also fit. You know, but either way, do it. Don't just sit and be indecisive and I can't decide what to do. So for the 2 months, 3 months, a year, you're still in the same position you were before. That's not going to help you. At least try one of them. Try starting or try working. And then you can say, okay, I've tried this. It's not what I expected. It didn't quite work out. I'm now moving. That's a better decision than sitting still because you can't decide. Because the time will still pass. But the difference is you would have either got the experience or not, or you'd have made the money or not.
How important is it to read about people who've made it?
You need the information. You need to read about it. Because that's what will give you the encouragement. You learn so much. And then you realize that actually, people have gone through this. They've made the journey, and so can I. Experience is a great teacher, but it hasn't always got to be your own experience. Okay. Somebody else's experience could add a lot to what you have to offer. So should you stay in a business and do a side business and multiply your streams of income, or should you leave where you're working and concentrate on that which you have started up? Okay. So I think it depends. If you need the income that you're getting, you have responsibilities, whatever they are, then I wouldn't say give up tomorrow and say to your family, sorry, I've got a dream, I've got a passion, I've got to follow it. Okay. That's irresponsible. All right. Having said that, if you're going to keep the job and still start your own business, you got to, look at ecologically, is that going to work out? Does that mean you're going to be working 20 hours every day? How are you going to actually live and be efficient in either of those situations? So I think it's a case-by-case basis. Okay. It's not a one answer for all situation, but do your research. The person would have the answer for themselves. All right, I was reading an article yesterday. I didn't know I'll be hosting a topic like this, which talks about the 7 things that the very wealthy do. Very interesting. If you can go on Google and type it in, I'm sure the article will pop up. You have to read, and read.